Good evening, folks. Welcome to Alien on a fine, luxurious, and I am very pink evening. I could be pinker. I could be pinker. But in fact, I just can't help myself. There you go. Let's get on with the show. Lee, my lad.
Hi, Ollie. How are you doing?
I'll go back. How you doing, Matt? You all right, mate?
Very good. Very good. I
There we
see
go.
that you're definitely not blue. Oh wait, now you ruined my joke. Damn it! Now you are blue.
Yeah, I'm kind of blending in with this shirt. Even I have been
So you
sanding.
blending in, Ollie. Some would say transitioning.
I've been at football all day, and I've been,
Oh, now he's trying to make himself sound manly.
and then I've been sanding wood after footballs in the garden.
Right.
So
Doing
Yeah.
what with the wood?
sanding it,
Oh, okay.
yeah, going up and down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lue Elizondo, yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting to see where you were going to transition to that. Yeah, I mean, what we got some leaks from this book, huh? Everybody's been waiting for the Lue Elizondo book, and it's supposed to come out August 20th. And I mean, it's still going to come out August 20th, of course, but some people got kind of a sneak preview. A lot of people did. And some people got a few chapters, and it seems like a lot of people got a lot more. Have you guys seen any of this stuff at all? Have you been busy looking around?
Bits
and bobs. Bits and bobs.
Okay, sure. Yeah, well, I guess I'll just start with this. I mean, from what you've seen so far, have you been excited for it? Has it let you down a little bit? Just from what you've seen up front.
I think it's what I thought it was going to be. Like when I've seen the clips of him talk about like remote viewing and stuff like that. I didn't think it was going to be a dull book. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I don't think it's going to be a dull book. The difference is going to be is who reads it and how much they believe of what's in it.
Right.
Who do you think it's made? Who's it made for? Is it made for us?
No, there's not enough of us.
Yeah, it's definitely made for more. You know, I mean, he's going to want to make as much money as he can on the book, without a doubt.
No, but you know what I mean? Is it made for the people in the UFO community? Who's it made for?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of inside. I mean, do you want to call it insider baseball? I mean, there's definitely a lot of, I guess, technical knowledge behind it. I mean, even and there are a lot of stories, of course, that are involved with it that anybody could pick up and read and be interested in. Kind of like the Lee, you were touching on it, the remote viewing story with him and the 5 guys sitting around the table and bring that up. You want me to bring that up right now? Do you want to just jump into that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like I say, Matt, you got to take us through it. I've been working away all week.
Well, I'll do the best that I can,
internet.
man. I'll do the best that I can here. I got like I said, I haven't read the book. Okay. I had a link. I was hoping that I was going to be able to get through the 4 chapters the next day because I didn't even see the link until late at night. And then, of course, the Google book preview link got killed. And God, there's so much that we could go over here. How do you share that, Ollie? Can you just throw that up? Okay. Let me see. Is there a better way? Can you guys read that?
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay. So this was a little bit of an excerpt from the book. I'm not sure exactly what chapter that this came from or anything like that, but it's still a pretty interesting, and not only interesting, this has been a really kind of a point in contention, I feel like, from the community on this, because this is one of the biggest claims that we've seen from the book so far. And there's people that are, wondering where's Lue's head is after this.
Can you read
what's
that
really going
for
on?
the audience and also for me?
Yeah, no, I'm going to read it. I was just going to give you a little bit of a lead up there. All right. So as a test, we all gathered together in a secure facility at the Pentagon with our brown bag lunches and attempted an act of group remote viewing. We directed our conjoined thoughts toward a specific terrorist in his cell. None of us had any sympathy for the ruthless killer who gleefully took the lives of our comrades. I wondered if we would leave a real impact on him. Something happened, all right. Months later, we learned that the terrorist had told his lawyers that the CIA had sent 5 angels to disrupt his sleep. 5 figures washed in a white light stood over his bed and shook it violently. leaving him terrified. I'd be terrified too. He felt that judgment was upon him. He shared the story with his attorney, and the tale later ended up in a mainstream newspaper article about a secret CIA program being used to harass his client. I told Hal Puthoff what we had done. He was not surprised. And when you guys hear that, I mean, it's obviously a big thing here of what's going on. How do you feel about that?
I'd like to know what the process that they went through beforehand. I think it's interesting that he's put the angels thing's obviously very loaded, isn't it? Because it instantly puts
especially
him up
now.
Yeah, well, it's more the fact that it's definitely putting him in a righteous position.
Well, I guess let me ask you this then. I mean, the way I took it when I read this, Lee, I first initially looked at it as he and his friends here had summoned these beings, whether they're angelic, what have you. But I've seen other people's takes on Twitter where it's been more like he almost astral projected himself and themselves to this guy in his cell. When I read that, how did you take that?
I mean, right. There's been talk about things that involve, like, what's the right words for it? Extra mental abilities, as far as like for military things for years. It's like look at what Stranger Things is supposedly based upon and stuff with the Montauk Project and stuff like that.
Right.
It's since there's been stories, we've had like stories of like telekinesis. There's all those videos of that Russian lady like moving balls around into perspex containers that nobody really knows whether they are like genuinely leaked videos or they were Russian propaganda. Men Who Stare at Goats was written about this sort of stuff. We know a lot of money's been put into it. I don't believe that countries would have continued to invest money in it and continue to research it if there wasn't some sort of if they weren't getting some results from it. It's what do you do if you're running a program and you get nothing out of it? You can the program and you move on to something else. Sorry lads, psychic spies didn't work.
Yeah.
So what I would think is, if there's some validity to what he's saying, and it's not just like a fanciful story for his book, I'd say that he is probably telling us the result of something, rather than the method in which it came to pass. And knowing the method might make what he's saying more believable and make sense a little bit more.
And we might get that more, as we actually get the full pages. That's why I say, as we go through some of this stuff, it's always like grain of salt, because we haven't all seen the full story. So we'll get more context. Ali, what about you?
What's the day that it comes out?
August 20th.
Is there any significance to that date?
I don't know.
Because usually with things like this, you always expect them to come on a date when something's going down,
right?
As like a distraction or whatever. The way, I kind of expected this was how was gonna go. There was rumors about the remote viewing stuff for a while. What I'm intrigued about is, are we going to get anything from the book about craft, anything like that? Aliens. Let's just say it. Aliens. Are we going to get anything like that from this book? Or are we just going to get a load of these kind of like remote viewing things and a little bit of like what he did at ATIP? Is that what we're going to get?
From what I've seen, he goes all in, which is fascinating enough here. I think we should probably start with. I'm going to use this one. Hey, shout out to Skyfire News here. They're nice enough here to post this. You know, we got our back here when our link was stolen. So I guess I guess that's a good transition, right? So this was a conversation in a little section here of the book that deals with, of course, Roswell. You know, everyone's kind of wondering what Lue's take would be on Roswell here. So this is the conversation between Lue Elizondo and Hal Puthoff. It's pretty interesting. Hal looked at me, clearly weighing whether to bring me further into his circle of trust. Yes, Lue, it was real. He's referring to Roswell here. You mean to tell me that a UAP actually crashed and we covered it up? That's exactly what happened, he replied. I went quiet and let his words sink in. Hal went on to tell me something else that truly blew my mind. 4 deceased non-human bodies were in fact recovered from the 1947 Roswell crash. After processing that, I fired off a slew of questions in my head, out my mouth. Have we recovered non-human bodies from other UAP crashes? He looked at me as if he was debating how to answer. It was clear to me he wasn't ready to tell me the answer. I was still the new guy. We'll tell you more soon enough, he said. Oh, okay, I guess I'll break it right there because it breaks down another area here. But what do you think about that? I mean, he comes right out here. And you know, what I find interesting is that it's Hal also, these quotes from their conversation, and this is in a skiff. It's interesting that Hal never speaks like this. I've never heard Hal talk about Roswell or anything like that. And he's kind of signing off here and coming out and telling his story and what he thinks is going on, right?
He's a funny one, he's Hal, because he seems like a very likable granddad, you know. But I bet he's a little bit sneaky.
Well,
Sneaky Hal.
Where has he never been though? He's been everywhere.
You know? Wasn't he a Scientologist? And then now he kind of like yeah, I dabbled in that, but you know,
yeah.
Let's just not talk about that.
Right. But I mean, it's right there.
I mean, does anybody really dabble in Scientology though?
I've never heard it. Well, actually, no, I have heard of somebody who dabbled in it and then got out of it because you interviewed them, Lee.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that he didn't dabble in it. He was like fully in
deep.
And even when he did the interview with me, he didn't. His voice was masked. We didn't do it on video. Because although
that's on our Alien Addict backlist in the audio.
No, it's not.
You'll have to dig it out.
I'll have to dig it out. If it's not deleted, I'll have to try and find it on the Patreon. He was still in the church essentially, and that's why like he listened to Musty audio, and that's why he got in touch with me to come on. But he was still in the church. His wife was in the church. His mother and father were in the church. And he said, look, my parents aren't coming out of this. Like there's no way. He said, my wife is starting to come around to my way of thinking, to how I felt a year ago. So he was kind of treading water, trying to coax his wife out without her understanding that he wanted out of the church as that quickly.
This is what with the Hal thing. I don't know what it's just from what I've heard about Scientology.
To me, if you find out someone is a Scientologist, I instantly don't trust them.
Yeah, I know. I know Hal said in that interview he had with Weinstein and Jesse Michaels a couple of years ago that he said he was there for a couple of years in the mid to late 70s, and then he kind of just got out. But his whole I guess take on it is that they didn't want to leave any stone unturned while they were dealing with that Stargate program. They were just going through everything that they could to figure out, get any lead that they could. The guy's versed, man. There's no doubt about it. He's had his head and hands everywhere. So, you know what I mean? It's interesting.
Hal seen them? Is Hal actually claiming that he has seen the craft and seen the 4 bodies, or he's just telling Lue a story?
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't know if we get more of that in the book. I mean, at the top part, I was going to usually show this slide before that because this gives a little bit of front end context here. He says, Hal says, Elizondo says, I don't recall how my first UAP history lesson in a skiff with Hal began, but I remember Hal tossing off the most enticing one-liner I'd ever heard. Well, it all goes back to Roswell in 1947. So I don't know. But at the same time, like I said, do you think that Hal, if anybody was involved, and maybe this is reaching, but I guess I'll put this out here. Let's say something like Majestic 12 was real. Maybe it's not what was in the documents. Okay. We can argue that if you want. But when you look at someone like Hal, how he's been everywhere, Joe Furmage, he worked with him in Fugal, OSAP, the whole ATIP scenario, TTSA, went in and did meetings in the early 2000s with the DoD, kind of game planning out what would happen with future technology. The guy's been everywhere. Would he be someone that would, if he's not one of the people in that main group, could he be an assistant kind of a thing, like where they send him around? He's kind of like a gopher to go get the information or to, work ops or what have you. I don't know. I've been thinking about this more the last couple of days.
It would make sense, especially like you look at what Scientologists do. They go out, they spread the word. So if he was good at that, why would he not be good at this?
Mm-hmm. See, I find it interesting he's brought Roswell up, and like I am, excuse me, I am like just going in for like my second like red stripe on my black belt when it comes to conspiracy theories now. And like I mean I'm fucking so far down that rabbit hole. I'm not coming out. I remember saying on this show last year, maybe the year before, I thought that this would build up to a Roswell reveal, and I believe they're going to use Roswell as a way to back up what they're saying. I mean, and I'll be straight. I think everything from Lue's book to the Congress hearings to the original article that came out in the New York Times, I believe that we are in the middle of like a fucking huge psyop. For what reason? I have no idea.
Also, News Nation, didn't they? They said I can't remember what documents they said was going to come out this year, but apparently a load of stuff was going to come out, which we're still waiting for.
I also think, I think that
News channel.
Did Grusch directly reference Roswell in the interview, or did he reference something he couldn't speak about and then he spoke about a crash in Italy?
Yeah, it was something he didn't reference. Matt, he didn't.
No, he didn't reference Roswell, but he referenced something he couldn't talk about.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing I remember is him talking about the Italy crash. Well, I think that was in the 30s, right?
I believe the thing he was saying he couldn't talk about was the Roswell crash. And I think that's what's going to come out, is he's going to he will probably then come out when something else comes out about Roswell and say, yeah, that's what I was talking about, and everything will be knitted together in a nice neat bow. I think it's weird because I'm gonna even sat on a YouTube show talking about aliens. I think this sounds ridiculous, what I'm gonna say. I think everything from Roswell to this point has been set up for these things that are happening right now to happen. I think this started because the crazy thing is, right, we if we're going to talk about the idea that there are interdimensional / extraterrestrial entities that are invading our reality, then why can't we talk about the idea that maybe there are entities which are affecting our reality, and they've started doing this? So if we're saying that we could be encountering things that aren't human, then they don't have to necessarily roll out on a human timeline.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I thought I'd bring up on this slide about Roswell, since we're here, might as well get after it. I thought this was interesting. This says, I won't read the whole thing, just the part that I really want to stand out. It says, a UAP fell that day in the vicinity of a government test facility in New Mexico and broke into 2 crash sites. Now, the interesting part about that to me is I've heard obviously stories about Roswell with it being 2 separate crafts crashing into each other,
yes.
and that's what created those 2 crash sites. Now he's saying no. He's saying I guess this thing must have been pretty big to create the distance, because it was a far distance between the 2 crash sites. I can't remember how far off the top of my head, but there was a great distance between the 2. It says at first, government investigators assumed that the Roswell craft were from another nation, possibly some sort of reconnaissance mission gone awry. But within the hours, the Army realized the truth that these craft, and I don't know if I have the other part of the slide that goes over it, but he essentially says that they're not from here. They're from another planet. They're not from here. That they're non-human. So
they're 100% from another planet.
Yeah, let me try to grab. I'm going to drop this down for a second, Ali. Let me try to grab the other slide.
The planet. Grab me the planet. I want to see it.
Yeah, I might have left that one out.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, Lee, many a times about it will be the Roswell. There'll be the big reveal.
It's so well known. Like if this is a story, do you know what I mean? Like I say, if this is some sort of psyop that they want to, like I've always said, for some reason, all of a sudden they want our parents to start believing in UFOs, which didn't care about them up until today. Roswell's
one they'll remember.
It's the one to remember. There's TV shows about it. It's the X-Files would constantly refer to it. It's been there in pop culture for what, 4 decades now.
It's true.
I got that loaded up too. It's right there.
Yeah. Can you not bang it up? No. Oh no, I've got to prove that. There you go. I have the power.
You do have the power. And I guess I'll read this whole part. I mean, we have to highlight part of here, but this will give us a little bit of context here that helps. Unidentified craft with beyond next generation technology, including the ability to move in ways that defy our knowledge of physics and to do so within air, water, and space, have been operating with a complete immunity all over the world since at least World War II. These craft are not made by humans. Humanity is, in fact, not the only intelligent life in the universe and not the alpha species. Yes, that's going to take a bit of time to process, but, and his famous buckle up, there is a lot more. UAP and the non-human intelligence controlling them present, at best, a very serious national security issue, and at worst, the possibility of an existential threat to humanity. So there's that threat kind of coming back again here, which is interesting because a lot of people have pointed that out from the leaks, that he's kind of leaning that way again with this book.
Right. So the interesting things here is, first of all, I hate the way that people get hung up on the threat thing. I think if there is something engaging with you that you don't know what it is, and it doesn't make its presence known to you, then you naturally consider it a threat. Like nobody wakes up in the middle of the night hearing noises downstairs and go, "Oh, I wonder who broke in to cuddle me." No, you look for something that you can hit that person with until they stop making noise. The second thing I think is interesting about this is, so he's just said, so the craft was made by was not made by humans. Humanity, in fact, is not the only intelligent life in the universe. Yet he still goes on to call it non-human intelligence, not extraterrestrial.
Right.
That seems weird to me.
Yeah, I think I had one that said, I might not have grabbed it, but I think there's one that says it's from another planetary system. I'd have to go dig at it, but yeah, just for in reference to this, yeah, right now I agree. He doesn't lean into that, and that's why I was wondering about the AI situation. I mean, the non-human intelligence, that whole acronym, the NHI, it leaves the aperture. Like, it's great to open an aperture and be able to bring in new ideas, but it would also be nice to kind of close that down a little bit and get a better idea of what's going on. And that's what I think people are wanting from the book from him. I mean, whether you believe him or not, I mean, that's not what we're talking about today, I don't think at all. But just analyzing and looking at what was being said here, it's interesting that he does at least say the words, the craft are not made by humans, because it feels like he's not wanted to really get into a lot of that over the last couple of years. And it seems like, yeah, he's interested now, you know.
Do you think he's found a third phase of Moon with the buckle up?
Probably.
I mean, he's looking spicy, this book, I have to say. If these are just a few snippets, and I've not had a chance to see all these. Like I say, I've been working away, so that when I messaged you from away the other day, I said you'll be holding the floor mat because I haven't seen this.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the best I can to kind of put it together. I did a space yesterday, kind of like trying to get everybody else's opinion on what's been going on, and yeah, because it seems like there's just back and forth feelings in the community about the book. Some people are happy, and some people who were all Team Lue have started to look at this and kind of go the other way. So I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to keep looking, Ali, for this. The Planet.
There's going to be an audio version as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's going to be narrated by Lue, and then obviously Christopher Mellon. He wrote the foreword for the book, which is interesting. That will also be audio.
I'll be all over that.
Yeah, for sure. And he does the narration. Mellon does his own, so pretty interesting stuff.
I wonder if he'll do Rogan, because obviously whoever Lue's people are, they are 100% constantly trying to get him on Joe Rogan, because it's if you've got a product coming out, that's the show you want to be on.
100%.
So the only reason he wouldn't go on Joe Rogan is if Joe Rogan doesn't want to speak to him. I think that will be a given. And I think that's
why would Joe Rogan not want to speak to him?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. Because there is no doubt he will be trying to get on that show.
Well, yeah, I mean, my opinion is it's likely. At the very least, he'll go on Tucker, because I think that's why he hasn't done a book tour. I mean, let's be honest, dude. If you go on Rogan or Tucker with something like this, it's going to sell the book out what you want.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend a bunch of extra time going around other podcasts or anything like that. You can pass News Nation, pass all that up. I mean, who was the woman that was just on Rogan who sold her book? Was it Annie Jacobson?
Pelosa. I can't. Is it Pelosa? Something Pelosa? I love listening to her talk.
Diana Pasulka. Excuse me, Pasulka.
Yeah.
But that's what they said about her book after she was done, that the book was sold out, was done. She made all that money. So
Diane, is she the am I forgetting? Is it the frog lady?
I can't remember off the top of my head, dude. I always get her and the other woman.
Is Diane the one that went out with Nolan?
Yes.
No. Yes. No.
I get the two, Diana Pasulka and the other woman. What's her name? I just said it. I don't know why I'm blanking on it now. Was it Annie Jacobson, or is it her? They look similar. I think they look similar. I always get them confused.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I know what you mean. I get them mixed up as well.
Yeah. But no, I think he'll be on Rogan, dude. I think so. I mean, Rogan's had everyone else on. He's had Mellon, he's had Bigelow, he's had Grusch, obviously Lazar, Corbell.
He's the only one that's missing.
We had Fravor. I don't think he had Graves on, did he? I don't think Ryan Graves went on there.
I think so. I know he went on Lex Friedman. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So what do you think he means by this last bit? Like, controlling them presents at best a very serious national security issue, and at worst possibility an existential threat to humanity. So controlling us controlling the UFOs? Or am I reading that wrong?
I think he's talking about the craft, isn't he? These craft. Yeah. So he's UAP and he's talking about both of them, UAP and the non-human intelligence controlling them.
So he's got that threat word there again.
Yeah, but that's he's not talking about them, but he's not talking about them independently. If that's what you mean.
I'm having trouble.
But like I say, I don't see why. I don't see why you wouldn't like look at this as a threat, regardless of what it is. I think I think it's. I know people jump on the idea of them saying it's a threat like all the time, and like I said, I don't necessarily believe the story is like not true's the wrong word, but it'll be. I don't believe it's been presented to us in a good faith manner. That's probably better. But yeah, there's people getting hung up on the fact that they're calling them a threat. I think it's weird that people are doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think even I've said on a few shows that why do they keep calling them a threat? But I suppose when you actually think about it, it possibly is a threat.
Well, it's an invasive species, whichever way you look at it. If like let's say it is an alien species coming to Earth, it's an invasive species. So at that point, like, look what happens when you put a new species into an environment that it shouldn't be there, especially a predator that is like a bounds above what's already there. You know, you can't even put two different colored squirrels together without one of them getting wiped out.
Oh yeah, it's always them ginger squirrels as well.
Yeah,
bastards.
Yeah, so what I think we should, because we were talking about what the craft, and we wanted to hear. I know Ali, you just said you wanted to hear more about craft itself. You guys remember hearing about the 23-minute video, that famous video that's supposed to show the craft moving around. It's clear as day. It's wonderful. The best you could get. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that is actually in.
You got it for us, Matt.
Yes, I got it for us.
You got the actual.
Cheers, good man. That was really good of you.
I got the video
show as well.
I got the video. Let me see. Can you throw that up, Ali? I mean, don't actually throw up. That's no good. Okay. So
I will if you make me read it.
No, I got you, man. I'll read it. So this is the description of the video. Of course, we don't get lucky enough to get the video. Maybe it'll come in the digital version, huh? Yeah. So maybe we'll start that rumor. Hey, you'll get the 23-minute video if you do the digital edition. So it's the legendary edition.
If anybody wants to make it in AI, feel free.
It doesn't come as it doesn't come as a video, but there is a pop-up edition.
That's a good idea, Ali. An AI recreation of what he's saying. That's huge.
Send it into Alien Addict if you make it, or tweet us.
Yeah, that is awesome.
We want to see it.
So this is the description of the video, which, I'll be honest, I don't know why the hell he couldn't have just told us the story already, but I mean, he's been saving up for the book. So here you go. It says another UAP video to hit my inbox involved a Predator unmanned aerial vehicle UAV drone conducting surveillance of a nuclear facility in a particularly hostile country when its camera picked up 3 luminous objects, just 3 dots. Unexplainably, the dots began to fly in a regimented formation, a perfect triangle. As the dots approached the Predator, they became more distinguishable. They were not flying, but were solid in structure. For 23 minutes, these craft tormented the Predator. They traversed 60 miles in the blink of an eye, traveling to the horizon, only to dart back and shadow the Predator within a few hundred feet. If that were not amazing enough, the 3 craft would routinely reorient themselves, switching from a wedge formation to a linear formation. As they danced across the sky, they appeared to be toying with our Predator. In quotes, "See what we can do and you can't," was the message I felt in my gut. The craft seemed curious about the Predator, often coming in for closer inspection. Later, I would recall this when the Navy fighter pilot Alex Dietrich described the 2004 Tic Tac as maneuvering in a playful manner. Now, I thought Fravor said that too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
I want to mention him saying that. I don't remember her saying that, but maybe she did. And it says,
Surely she saw it for what, 3 seconds?
if that. Yeah, it was a big discrepancy. There's a lot of argument about how the time difference between Fravor and her. But it says playful. What a strange description. Yet that was precisely my own impression as I watched this video. I shared the video with my highest level industry experts. Aviation experts don't mince words. This is literally all they do. Watch real life, filmed or simulated aircraft day after day. They can spot something off kilter in a flash. The conversation always went something like this. Let me scroll down here for you. So as you can see, this is what Lue is saying here. Lue, are these conventional aircraft? The expert, no, not a chance. Lue, well, let's pretend they are conventional. What could they possibly be? Give me all the options you can think of. The expert embarked on a course of mental gymnastics, which I thought was a funny way to put that, but yeah. And the expert says, well, I suppose if someone had the ability to create a semi-inflatable balloon with a two-way inducted fan in the middle that was shrouded and cooled using superconducting avionics, where have we heard that before? Stealth, skin, and paint, I suppose it's possible. But then you have a power supply issue. No battery can last that long. Lue says, is that where what we are seeing here? Expert says, once again, no, not a chance. So what does that sound like to you guys?
That sounds like we need Ashton Forbes.
I was just going to say that with the three orbs.
Yeah.
It's
and then the
interesting,
superconducting, right?
Mm.
It's interesting. I want the
I
video.
wonder, has Ashton picked up on this, by the way?
I don't know. He seems like he's head first into everything right now with the free energy stuff and stuff that he's doing. But I'm sure he'd be interested in reading over this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's interesting to keep hearing about these orbs that these keep coming up. You know what I mean? You get more and more
as well.
orbs.
Like
Yeah.
Always
you know,
three.
Threes and triangles, and this is like even before the Ashton Forbes thing. Like we've had lights making triangles like for decades now. Like it's what's the significance of, because it's not necessarily just a flight formation, because we've seen videos of these things making patterns, they were making these shapes for what seems to be like a purpose, like if not a message, so
Right.
like why, what's the reasoning behind that?
What was the TV series that was this year? The third, what was it? Something body.
Three body problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the three orbs again, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it keeps coming up, man. It keeps coming up. Yeah, I don't know. The playful thing is always interesting to me. That always makes it sound like it's could be potentially something from us, studying us, or from somewhere else. I mean, it doesn't have to be, ET, or it doesn't have to be something else. I could understand reconnaissance on something like that, but yeah, I don't know. It's so hard, because we don't have the video, right? It's so hard to speculate too much and to take too much from it. I wonder if we'll get it at some point. I mean, how could he talk about this and describe it if we can't see it, right? In this kind of detail?
Unless it's coming. That's the thing. Unless it is coming.
The video's coming.
But then again, we were promised a high resolution photograph as well at one point, weren't we? And that's what Rogan had mentioned on his show. What that he'd been told was going to come out. And then I believe on another show, he'd also said that he'd been told that the decision had been made to not put that out to the public at some point.
Do you reckon this is one of the things this conversation has gone through David Grusch?
Yeah, I think so. Grusch even, and I think I can grab this too. It's a small thing, but I might as well show it because it's something for us to look at here. Grusch that I know of is only mentioned, I think, once in the book that I know of. Let me share this, Ollie, really fast. This is the part that we have right now, that we can actually take a look at. All right, there you go. You got it loaded up.
Here we go, mate.
Okay. So this is Elizondo commenting on Grusch here, which you give me all the segues here, bro. That's perfect. Grusch, yeah, absolutely. Who were now testifying to the American people in Congress under oath. This was a tremendously proud moment to watch my friends and colleagues bravely testifying before Congress, the American people, and the entire world. So this is kind of all that we, like I said, have right now when it comes to Grusch, which I find it interesting that they say that they're friends because, you know, we don't hear a lot much about them anymore, even like interacting at all. I mean, I know that disclosure fund that Elizondo was a part of. We've kind of talked about that before, how Grusch is not involved. Where's he at? You know, I kind of wonder if they've had a falling out or if Grusch is starting to believe that these are maybe just stories that he was told and he's kind of running at this point. That he doesn't believe a lot.
I've never heard Grusch reference Lue in any interview.
I've heard it third party. I'm blanking on the guy's name right now, but he had mentioned that supposedly Elizondo told him where to find the video, and I'm gonna blank on the case, which is horrible for this, but it's the one where you have the missile goes in the air and the UFO flies around the missile, and it drops the warhead and knocks out of the sky.
Yep.
Okay. I can't remember his name off the top. I got the clip, the guy talking about it. But supposedly Elizondo had told Grusch where that video was.
Have you got the clip? Well, you got the clip now?
Yeah, I can probably grab it if you give me a half second.
Oh, well, if you haven't got it to hand, I thought you meant you've got it.
Oh, I mean, it's not going to take like that long to grab it. But that was essentially what he had said, was that he told Grusch where that video was exactly, and supposedly Grusch had went to look for the video, and it wasn't there. So, I mean, when that happened, how long ago that happened, does that piss Grusch off? You know, that maybe he's not coming through on some of this stuff. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I wonder whether there's a reason for Grusch to, for want of better words, keep himself pure. To get because at the minute Grusch is very much a bit of an island, isn't he, with this stuff? So I can see, regardless of what Lue's doing, I can see this on both sides, actually, on both my argument of it being some sort of psyop and the counter argument of this being like all above board and this is the beginning of some sort of disclosure. Lue's kind of tainted himself in my eyes because he became part of a reality TV show. And that's something that's never sat right with me. You know, if you've got like meta material from a crashed flying saucer, what's the first thing you do? Oh, well, let's ring the History Channel because that's how we'll sort this out. We'll sort this out in the History Channel with a member of Blink-182, and we'll make a TV show about it. That's never sat right with me. So the idea that Grusch would maybe like you can be friends with people and not necessarily work with them.
Right. So this is the Big Sur. That's what this is from here. Bob Jacobs. I knew I was going to lose it. So this is the short clip of him just kind of talking about this situation between Grusch and Elizondo. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Tell me if you can in a second.
No.
Can't hear it at all? Okay. Okay. Maybe because I didn't tick the audio here. Let me see.
Is that Father Christmas explaining that he needs a UFO to get around all the houses at Christmas time?
Probably. Let me see. Is this thing going to be mean to me today, Ollie? You probably still aren't going to get the audio. I don't think you can with it pulled this way.
No, we've got no audio. I can lip read. He does look like Santa.
Yeah. Okay. Like as soon as I realized that we didn't need a reactor and we could do, I was like fucking them reindeers straight off.
Yeah, but Robert Jacobs mentions that, and I think that was last year or something like that, where he talks about that situation. So I don't know. You know, Grusch or Elizondo seems to be at least feel that he's on the same page with him, at least friendship wise. So. You know, we'll have to see where it all ends up playing out, dude. There's just a lot in the air right now. There's a lot in the air. Let me see if I can grab another little spot here. Oh, okay. So, go ahead, Lee.
I was just going to say, I suppose the thing with all these people is they're all legs holding up the same table.
Oh
So
yeah,
it doesn't, it doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. They are all helping each other out, even if they don't necessarily talk to each other or even communicate with each other about what they're doing. As long as they're talking about UAP, UFO, extraterrestrial threats, non-human biologics, non-human intelligence.
Do you
They're all
think Tom
keeping the
DeLonge
ball in the air.
is still?
I think Tom DeLonge it's not. No, I genuinely don't think Tom DeLonge is worth talking about.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, do you think he's essentially was used and is now is not useful anymore?
I think Tom DeLonge shows that, like, he's one of the reasons I think it's a psyop, because I think out of touch people, when we've got rock star Tom DeLonge on board, who hasn't been relevant since fucking 1998 or wherever it was, and the people that had decided this were already so out of touch. We see this all the time just in general entertainment, where old people make decisions and they get people on board that they kind of recognize, but they don't know who they are. And I think that's what Tom DeLonge was to them. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he was interested in it all. And let's not forget that he was brought into this through some of the most suspect, strange emails that have ever been read by human eyes. I mean, we're talking about emails here that can lead people back to fucking child trafficking and all sorts. You could argue that the entire letter of the alphabet anon thing kicked off because of those emails.
Well, don't you find it interesting too? If you remember when Tom DeLonge was talking about the Roswell crash on Rogan, he said that he thought it was German. Elizondo doesn't feel that way. I'm surprised that they're not more on the same page. I feel like these are kind of the people that Tom was talking to. It was getting all of his information from. Wonder where that went wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Lue.
I know. You're looking good, huh?
Young Lue.
Young Lue. Okay.
I don't even think he could have grown a goatee back then.
Joe, the funny thing is, I know Dave's pointed this out before, but I do find it funny when you see like people on UFO Twitter and in the community like taking stabs at Lue, and you can fucking tell this guy has done some terrible things to people, and like, you're a nerd in your basement and you think you have some sort of fucking you think you have some sort of power over this man because you have some stupid lights behind you and you wear some stupid glasses and speak in a stupid voice. You know, why?
Well, that's kind of what we're about to go over too, Lee, which is interesting enough. Look at you guys at the Segway Kings here. Okay. So you truly are. I'm going to move that bottom image off, Ollie, because of the, the 9 sticks, you know what I'm saying?
Look at us, Ollie. Best fluffers in the business.
Okay, so this is a little excerpt from the book. This is my work with Guantanamo Bay brought endless rounds of drama and stress. An attorney.
Oh yeah, let me guess. Let me guess. He wasn't the receptionist.
An attorney. Oh, it gets interesting here. An attorney for one of the 9, hockey stick there, suspects labeled me in open court as the U.S. czar of torture. Wow. From that moment, I would forever be branded by some as the nation's Darth Vader. He calls himself Darth Vader. I mean, he has to you would have to take a little bit of pride in that, right? If you were going to put that in your book.
Not pride, enjoyment.
Sure. Because I mean, I wouldn't want to say that about myself. Even if I was involved in something like that, I wouldn't want to keep bringing that up. I mean, I guess he's arguing transparency, but I don't know. That's a tough thing to call yourself. No. What do you think, Ollie?
I'm just picturing like UFO Twitter going mad and putting Darth Vader's back of his helmet on Lue with a cape and that. And Has that happened yet?
Oh, it's happened. Yeah, there's actually a 4-shot of one of him as Darth Vader, one of him is like a czar of torture. There's one of him as an angel, and then I'm trying to think of the last one, and then one is Neo. Because at the very end of that Hal Puthoff conversation, which I kind of rolled over because it didn't really seem relevant at the time, but he says that he inhaled the red pill like Neo from the Matrix. So he's making some interesting claims about himself. Here are some comparisons. And this is, at one point, I was informed that Europe had issued an open arrest warrant for me and anyone involved in the notorious rendition, detention, and interrogation (RDI) program of high-value detainees. God, I wish we had Dave here. Dave could really rip this open.
Dave's gonna love this book.
He will. The International Court of Human Rights had decreed that any U.S. intelligence officer involved in that effort would face trial if arrested. From my perspective, I was serving my country and my president in preventing another 9 double hockey sticks. So there you go. So he seems that, yeah, I think gleeful almost. You're saying like happy, Lee? Proud of it? I mean,
like, look, if you enjoy your job, you never work a day in your life.
Right.
I think Lee's right though. Especially
he's not a man to be trifled with.
Yeah, I think there was, I can't remember the show that Dave was on it, and Dave said it then. He said, these guys do not know what they're messing with this guy.
Right. So
because I don't think there's any bullshit in any of this.
Right. Well, let's think about this for a second, right? Who thinks out of the three of us, or at least like entertains the idea that this is some sort of psyop that's been put in place?
Any of it's possible, dude. Yeah. Any of it is. You have to leave your mind open for that for sure.
Yeah. So the fact that Lue Elizondo is some sort of counterintelligence guy, like, lines up. Now, the idea that I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that his sole job was counterintelligence on this topic within the community that's doing the most research on it, or at least talking about it. I'm not sure what purpose that is, and I think that's the really weird thing about the UFO thing, because you have, don't get me wrong, you get infighting and stuff in all of the like niches of conspiracy, be it by Bigfoot to Anon to anything. Like, there's people that are gonna argue with each other. But I think the UFO topic is the only conspiracy theory which has government agents, government agents as well, interfering within the topic. And I was saying this to Ollie the other day, like, I still believe Lue is in contact with, we know he's in contact with various people. The Chupacabra did that thing the other day, showing that he'd been like speaking with Captain Milkfart and stuff like that. And right, the Milkfart thing's an interesting cat, because it's not like he's even got enough of a following to actually have any sort of influencer type clout, but he's such a player within this. I find all that really interesting. But I believe Lue's still in contact with people within the circle that don't say they're in contact with them. In fact, I think he's still in contact with people which openly denounce him, and that's what they're being told, if not paid, to do now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he mentions just right in that page earlier that Hal was, considering bringing him in the circle, debating, right? I mean, there's that word right away in the book. Yeah, I don't know. This whole book for me, man, like everything that I'm seeing so far is at the minimal, if you want to believe the UFO stuff that's in the book, he's definitely a UFO guy, right? Why was he saying he wasn't a UFO guy? He seems to be quite the UFO guy.
He definitely seems to be quite the UFO guy.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he was separating himself from the like UFO Twitter brigade when he said that.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. But I mean, and you know, there's theories out there that he's behind a like almost like the ringleader of a harassment campaign that's been going on Twitter for a long time. And I think when you look at stuff like this, the czar of torture, Darth Vader, he doesn't seem to flinch at any of this stuff. I mean, if he was really involved in anything like that, I think that, you know, kind of going after people on Twitter probably would be light work. I don't think he'd lose sleep over doing that, right? If that's what's going on, allegedly. Obviously, I put allegedly over all that.
I'll tell you what is crazy. It's not crazy, but it's strange. He hit every channel pretty much, all the small channels, some big channels, but he hit everybody. And now I think he may go on. We might see him on Joe Rogan. We may see him on a couple of big podcasts. You ain't ever going to see him on a small podcast again.
No, but I don't necessarily think there has to be any malice to that. You know, like
I don't think there's malice to it, but I don't think he wants any Twitter questions asked of him.
Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think that's necessarily because they're going to ask the best questions either. Like let's face it, right? You know that if you get, I think we'd give him a good interview, if I'm honest.
Oh, definitely.
Because the idea we've got is just to let people talk, but if he goes on fucking Truth Seekers, something like that, or if he
that would never happen, by the way. That would never happen.
No, but all he would get is he would get a bad faith argument, is what he get. You would get somebody that tries to put it like that is trying to frame him in a way. You know, it's. I think there's a good chance he might end up going unvetted. I think vetted would do a good
I
interview.
think you might see him unvetted.
I
hope that happens.
I hope it happens as well. Patrick's been getting some really good guests on these.
He deserves it. He's a good guy.
I'm really happy for him. But yeah, I don't see why. Like, I wouldn't go on a show just to argue with somebody, and then you get someone go, "Well, I ask the tough questions." Well, you're a bad interviewer, because if you ask, like, if you just shout at somebody, you're not interviewing them, you're lecturing them, and that's not the same thing. I think that's why he probably
doesn't ask them something straight away that turns them off the entire interview.
But I think that's affected all channels as well. I think that's the reason why these people only go on like Project Unity, or like again like vetted establishing himself well for that sort of stuff. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Ollie, the films in like his kitchen or something like that. He's always got a thing behind him. He's interviewed some really good people. Who am I talking about? You like him?
Oh, Kurt
I like him. Yeah.
Kurt's cool.
Yeah.
Kurt's had Lue on before.
I think
but it's because people are having because these people are having discussions with these people, and that makes it more attractive.
So tidy.
Yeah, I don't think he really lives there. Either that or he's a fucking serial killer. Like that, the rest of the room is just plastic shit.
You heard it first on Alien Addict. Kurt Jamonko been accused of being a serial killer by Lee.
See, yeah, that's why we don't get the good guests. Sorry, Matt. But the
no, I mean, but there is there's moments though that still pop up that I'd like him to talk about a big kind of story that's broke from a lot of this book leak, which I still call it a leak. Because Google put it out and it was a book preview, but the preview was bugged. You know, people got way more of the book than they were supposed to. So it's still
it's weird. It's this though, isn't it? It's weird. It's this book.
Well, yeah, it happened, I guess, in the UK for it. But you know, Jason Sands, I don't know how you guys looked into him very much. I heard about him.
We've had not much conversation, but a little bit of conversation on Twitter with him. But
Yeah, he's a whistleblower, quote unquote, however you want to define that. I'll leave that up to you. But yeah, he's been someone that's been really popular around UFO Twitter and the spaces. I know he's going to be in the next James Fox documentary that's coming out in September. And he kind of got some flack from Fox a little bit for coming out when he did. But he was in a space and people were kind of asking him his takes on these leaks. What's really been going on and how did he feel about them?
Yeah,
And he kind of
had he been to dinner with Lue?
That's what we're getting to. Yeah. So supposedly, now, I mean, I have my own feelings about Sands personally. I'm very suspicious of Jason Sands for my own reasons.
Because of the blue alien.
No, not even really that. I mean, at the end of the day, the panel that he was on with Goof on, that I was, on that night too. Yeah, I was on that one at night. He joined that panel on the random, by the way. He wasn't like a brought on guest. He just had jumped on after the Grusch interview that he did on News Nation. And he kept calling David Grusch David Grusch. And at that time, a lot of people were calling him Grusch because no one really knew the guy.
I think we called him Grusch.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely did. And he was saying Grusch, and there was one kid that was saying, hey, you said you worked with him and you knew him, but you don't know his last name. Can't say his last name. And so I always thought that was very weird. And then just the way that he tells the story, man, I don't know. When you watch a lot of these UFO interviews over the time and you kind of hear people telling stories, you can kind of tell a little bit when people are making something up as they go along. I digress, but I've just always felt very suspicious of him. But he was asked about these leaks. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he was talking about how he's like, oh, well, it's interesting you asked that question yesterday. And he goes, oh, well, I mean, the day before I was out to dinner with Lue Elizondo. And Elizondo, when I asked him about the leaks, had said that Jay Unity hates me. And that was what his, or like description of the leaks was. So obviously that sounds like Jay from Project Unity,
Yeah, well, I don't think Jay does particularly. I don't think he's very fond of Lue.
He doesn't trust him, that's for sure. He did a really good a long write-up.
Cheers, hang time.
Yeah, there it is. And he did a long write-up, kind of giving a really a no holds bar kind of oh, here you go. Yeah, thank you on there. I always talk during these. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
But he did it, but he really yeah, thanks. And so he really kind of broke down his true thoughts, and which I applauded him, man. I mean, he's got a huge following, dude, and to kind of speak out a little bit against Elizondo's not always the most popular thing to do, that as we know. But anyway, he kind of that kind of got pinned on Jay and through Elizondo, and I'm thinking, look, I personally don't think that's what happened, but I don't even know if Jason even really was at a dinner with Lue. And this whole story comes to the point of where I'm saying I want to see Lue get more active in the sense of he needs to come out and answer to this. I want to hear Elizondo's opinion on whether or not he was saying this kind of stuff behind the scenes, because a lot of people are just taking it at face value. And look, I'm not a Lue Elizondo apologist here. I'm not here to defend him, but I'm just simply saying at the start of the entire, in my opinion, accusation, in my opinion, we're looking at potential slander, and I think Lue needs to come on out and talk about that more. And I don't know if he's really interested in getting involved too much with it, but we would like to see more, Lee. Do
you want? I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see Lue Elizondo, Bob Lazar, Jeremy Corbell, and
are you fantasy booking UFO podcasts?
Let's throw Travis Walton in there as well, all on one panel.
It'd be nice. Someone was just talking about that the other night. Of these guys got to get in spaces. At the very least, if they're not going to go on podcasts and do that, get in and get a bunch of people together and have them talk and hash it out. But I don't know. There's so many competing opinions. I don't know if they want to do that.
I think the thing to remember as well, sorry, just quickly, I think the thing to remember is these things are such small audiences as well.
True.
Like I've openly said I'm not the biggest fan of spaces, but I think they're like very much a limited hangout. So if you want to get a message out or you want to sell a product, I don't think it's the best move. I think that's what Lue wants to do as well. And that doesn't necessarily. I don't think that necessarily tarnishes credibility to the stories or anything like that. But the guy wants to sell this book.
100%. Yeah, without a doubt. I think this has been his plan ever since he left TTSA. I think that's my opinion. I feel that he started going on all these podcasts and kind of building this whole thing up because the promises of many riches over at TTSA would just never came true. And I think that's been the plan the whole time. So I mean, for me, when I'm looking at the book, it's about what I thought we would get. Obviously, I didn't. The remote viewing story is pretty out there. I didn't think we'd go there with it. Definitely didn't think we'd get disclosure from it. But it's around that same kind of area where I figured we would land with the book. So I mean, the leaks have definitely interested me. It's interesting. Do I believe it? I mean, come on. I want hard proof, but it's interesting stories to read for sure. What do you guys think?
I just want to, I definitely can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to doing content on it when we actually know the full meat and bones of it. But I do find it extremely interesting the people he's pissed off. Like if you look at Jay from Project Unity, Jay was running his entire channel off, I think, an iPhone 6. And that's all he had. And then these guys helped him out. Something happened that left a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah, but we'll look at look at other people that Lue's had dealings with. There's no and this is one of the things. This is one of the reasons why I think he's kind of done his job, because right before, and I know there's still a lot of like people go on different shows. We're doing it right now. What's that weird noise?
What weird?
Can anyone else hear that weird, like, scratchy noise?
I heard it for a second, but I just figured somebody got a cat or something somewhere,
No. Anyway,
we're being tapped, Lee. We're talking too much about this shit.
Damn it. I mean, it's a great idea. I'm not sure why you tap a live stream.
I don't know.
I couldn't hear it. Maybe it was me.
Maybe we could literally hear you thinking. The thing is, like, you used to have more cross-pollination between people on shows. I think there was more cross-pollination with people on UFO Twitter and social medias. I think it's become very tribal. I think people that used to be just interested, like just interested in weird, freaky stuff. I mean, that's the reason I'm here. It's not even necessarily just like the UFO thing. I just like weird shit.
Yeah.
And Lue came along, and it was really interesting for a minute. And then he came in, bounced, and now all of a sudden people that were into this stuff are only interested in debunking it now. And not only interested in debunking, they want to shout at people that continue to show any interest in it. He has caused fucking chaos with some people, and I think that's by design.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people out and about even compare him to being like the new Richard Doty.
Yeah, I think that is 100% a good example. Yeah, I mean, there's no point in fucking bouncing around names, and I don't mean to fucking bring the guy up again.
No, I get it. I know what you mean.
But look what's happened with Lue. The how that changed, like the difference between that unidentified celebrity review to Lue reviews. Jesus Christ. And that's not just like a content change, that's a personality change as well. And it is solely responsible to Lue Elizondo.
Yeah, no matter what, I know we've had our own tensions in the past and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But none of that really matters at the end of the day when you look at what happened with him. It's terrible, bro. It's terrible.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always been
absolutely.
terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I've always kind of I just felt bad about this situation. I would never want to be in that spot, you know. And he rose to popularity so high so fast,
Mhm.
and Elizondo is a giant part of that entire process. Of course,
And that's no accident, though. It's no accident that
it's interesting.
you go into the restaurant with the guy that's waiting on you. That is a like I'm not going to go down the fucking failed actor road because it's not fair, because you can't have failed at something if you're still attempting to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so let's say aspiring actor is the best nice thing to say about it. And the thing is about people. The thing is about Lue and the aspiring actor thing is, I don't think it's necessarily just a like artistic outlet with Lue. I think he really wants to be famous as well, and there's nothing wrong with that.
A lot of people do, yeah.
Look, everyone that sticks a camera on and does a live stream, it wants strangers to listen to them. So we've all got that to some degree.
Sure.
But that's also the perfect vehicle for what Lue Elizondo wanted to do: to get in with someone that was involved in this, pump them up so they become bigger than they would have done organically just on their own. Put them in a position like I would argue that there might have been personality or psychological traits that were there that showed Lue that he could wind Lue up and then just bounce and fucking let that ricochet all over the place because he knew what the result would be.
Yeah, and it's this previous behavior from Elizondo is why, like I said earlier, I'll read the book, I'll enjoy the book. Do I believe everything in the book? It's lots of grains of salt, man. You know, unless we were to get, you know, some real hard evidence, it's a fun read. I recommend anybody to read the book. Why would you not? And I'll say this too. I know the book is out there. You can get it now. I wouldn't suggest doing that. You know, no matter what you feel about the guy, I don't suggest stealing from people like that. You know, make sure you get a copy of the book if you want to read it. Do it a legitimate way. You know, let's not get crazy here and become thieves, because then, I mean, if you, how are you any better of a person if you're, you know, it's move the log out of your eye for the splinter from the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, two wrongs don't make a right. And it's
even if you don't want to give him money, yeah, you probably got a Spotify account. It's probably going to be on Spotify. You get 15 hours of audiobooks a week.
Right. Yeah. And plus 4 or 5 people, you know, taking the book, whoever they are. Look, I mean, that's not going to change the fact the guy's going to make a ton of money. So, you know,
no, Ubisoft still makes video games regardless of how many people pirate them.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'll you know, just to kind of put a little bow on that always, but go into it with an open mind, but, you know, be fair with it. You know, don't believe everything you read right away. Really analyze it. That's the best thing I could say. And come up with your own conclusion on what you think is going on. And I think you'll be fine. I don't think anybody's going to do anything bad reading Elizondo's book about Roswell and stuff, right? So, yeah.
You're going to be doing are you going to be reading it on the show?
No. When the book comes out, I'm gonna listen to it. I'll take notes like crazy. It'll be a lot, dude. I thought about that today, Ali. I was like, man, you know, I got to go through this book and do it in a show. And I'm like, God, that it's gonna be a lot of notes. Like when I did the interview with Philip Mantle on that Pascagoula book, that was a lot of notes. This is going to be even more because, you know, there's even more context I'm going to have to drag out and clips from the past. So I don't know how quick I'm going to be able to even get it out, even if I was able to hammer the damn thing every day. It will be done, though. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll
Why
be
do you do a series? Why do you do a series with it and do like maybe 2 chapters at a time in a video?
I thought about doing that, but you know what I thought? I said, you know, if I was really going to be a viewer and sit down and want to hear about this book and hear the review, and I probably only want to do one video. I don't know if people's attention spans are going to care enough for me to break down every chapter, Lee. I thought that at first, but then I don't know. When I took my break, I was thinking a lot about this.
Watch it.
Would
Maybe
you
do it
really?
in quarters. Maybe do it in quarters, so it's just four videos.
Yeah. Well, and
Because
yeah, and go ahead.
you could do a fourth of the book a week, like sort of thing. So it would be a doable amount. That might be the way forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna want to have to really work on it. So like the Sunday shows are gonna have to take a break once that happens, dude, because I'm gonna have to pour time into it, and so it'll be a little bit of time in between on those, but I think it'll be worth it. Maybe a couple people will miss me a little bit, and they'll be happy to have some new content.
So I think I don't know how much more we can cover on the leaks.
Not a whole lot more, man. I mean, he breaks down a little bit more about kind of his opinion on what happened with OSAP and ATIP and a lot of that. I mean, it kind of gets into the weeds. That's why I didn't really bring it up on here. We're kind of just spitballing about what we're seeing. I want to bring kind of more of the highlights, but I am going to go more into that tomorrow on my show. So I will be able to dig into kind of Lue's opinion on whether or not he was kind of misappropriating funds behind the scene at the Pentagon and some weirdness that was going on with that. But no, I guess it just all in all, I'm excited to finally read the whole thing and get through it. It should be a lot of fun,
It's gonna be a hardback as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder what will do better. What do you guys think? You think most people are listening to these books nowadays more than
I
reading?
might get the hardback book I'm gonna get a bookshelf just to have it there.
But you know what? Like, I mean, if anything is a prop, Ollie, it's your bookshelf.
Yeah. The guy can't read.
I'm
the Rumble viewers.
Yeah,
live.
it is. It's good. I'm not the greatest of readers, but I love an audiobook when it's written by the author.
Yeah.
The read by the author books. I kind of always think to myself that to me might be the purest way of taking a book in, because you're listening to it how it was intended to be listened to.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of books that are read by the authors.
Graham Hancock's books, he read them.
Absolutely, yeah. The Douglas Murray's books. I'm a big Douglas Murray fan. He's it's great. I hope it's on Spotify because I've got Spotify and I can listen to it on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be listening to it. Either that or my wife's going to read it to me. But yeah, we have we've kind of reached the climax of the show, so I think we should end it on a good point. Matthew, what you got coming up next?
Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, and you can see Terrestrial Material. That's the channel, as well as the Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. You can follow me there. I'm going to go over, obviously, these 5 or 6 slides that we did, but I think I have a total 19 or 20. So we'll be able to really take a look at everything, getting a little bit more of the weeds, like I was talking about the OSAP, ATIP stuff. And I'll go over all that tomorrow. And then I think there's a couple things from Congress to look at. So it should be, a good little chunk of show, and that'll be live streaming tomorrow on my channel. Yep.
Awesome. Tomorrow, Leo, we doing a show tomorrow? Yeah,
we're doing a show tomorrow. But, we will hopefully be joined by Chupacabra and Red Panda Koala. Nearly said Cola again. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the opening ceremony at the Olympics. We will apparently be copyright claimed for doing this because they are copyright claiming people and taking their own footage down. It was so fucking weird. We're also probably going to bring up the London Olympics opening ceremony, which I believe quite accurately predicted the COVID pandemic, which will also probably get us demonetized. So the great thing is that the Olympics are going to copyright claim us, but the fact we're going to talk about COVID, it'll be demonetized anyway. So they still don't get anything.
So on that note, if you are listening on Rumble, we thank you. And we also thank everybody that's listening to it on YouTube. But it'd be nice if you went over to Rumble.
Yeah, YouTube's not our friend, and like we really appreciate people that listen to this on Rumble, X, and audio podcasts.
We love you on the audio podcasts.
Yeah, the audio is actually the best way to support the channel is by listening to us on audio. Quickly before we finish, I was speaking to Alien Girl before the show, and she has a show coming up, which apparently is going to start after this show. Is going to be the pre-show. She has a documentary that she's going to play this evening that apparently Alien Addict is a part of. So yeah, make sure you go over to Alien Girl's show after you've left here, because I mean, let's face it,
Amy's awesome.
Amy's awesome, and there's less happier places that you could go, especially when it comes to this stuff.
She's been working really hard on that documentary, man. I'm excited to watch it for sure. Everybody should go over it. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, awesome. And everybody in the chat, we absolutely love you. Make sure you check out all the links in the description below. We've got about 2 weeks left on the t-shirts. I'm currently in the works on some brand new ones that will replace all of these t-shirts apart from this one. That one's there to stay. So go grab yourself either Lovecraft Lady, Retro Mothman, Illuminati Rockstar, really like that one, or my favorite. I'm not a fly earther, but
you are.
Yep. So join us tomorrow night at 9 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Munchy nipples.